you're gonna take this into the glass and you're gonna push it into the felt over here. Hi, I'm Drew with the Jeep Farm. We do all kinds of vintage Jeep restorations, 1986 and older. But growing up, reading off-road magazines, one of my dream Jeeps was to own a Baja race Jeep. And this is the original Baja race Jeep. This is Ray Russell's personal Jeep. This is actually a 1976 CJ, although sponsored by Jeep, it got a YJ grille in '87, while YJ front end. One of Ray's original employees, Warren Baird, and his son Brad Russell reached out to me and asked me if I was interested in buying this Jeep. And being the Jeep nut I am, of course, I almost peed myself and giggled like a schoolgirl and of course said yes. This Jeep I used to read about in magazines growing up, racing the Baja 1000, the Mint 400. This Jeep has such an amazing history. The deal is we're gonna restore this Jeep back to, not exactly back to its original state, but close enough to make it safe to race these days, but wear its original paint job. We're gonna put a CJ front end back on it. The Jeep was sponsored by Cooper Tire, Goodyear, as well as Jeep, has won over 20 races, winning the Baja 1000 in 1976, 1977, winning the Mint 400, 76, 78, 79, as well as the Mexicali 300, the Firecracker 250, the Parker 400, and the Baja International. In 1985, Mike Swellinger, owner of Cañedo Off-Road, bought it and became the SCORE Rookie of the Year in 1986. Again, sponsored by General Tire. He started racing it with a CJ front end, and then they put a YJ front end on it to update the Jeep for the 1987 year when YJs came out. The Jeep kind of disappeared off the radar for a while and was found on a E-Willys ad, and Greg Adler, the owner of Full Wheel Parts, bought the Jeep in the condition it was and then prepped it and raced the Nora in 2010, and that was the last time the Jeep was raced. After that, it sat in a showroom, in a Full Wheel Parts showroom for many years until Brad Russell, Ray's son, and Warren Baird, Ray's original employee that helped build this Jeep as well as many other Jeeps, purchased the Jeep, intentions to get it racing. Life and this, that, and the other kind of got in the way, and they reached out to me to restore the Jeep and get it back into racing condition, which we will do. So the Jeep still has the original frame, still has the original tub of Ray Russell's original Jeep he purchased off the dealership lot, so I'm aware. The Jeep originally was white, and there are places you can still see the old white paint stick through. You can still see signs of old stripes, hand-painted lettering. The Jeep's super cool. So it runs a narrow Wagoneer 44 front. It runs F-150 outers, oversized wheel studs. At the original, it had, well, this Jeep's had multiple shock setups, but it ran 3 per corner. It actually ran Mickey Thompson racing shocks for a while. As you can see, there's no shocks on it now. I do have the remote reservoir Fox shocks that Greg Adler ran on it in 2010. It has the aluminum doors that were built back in the day. It runs a Dana 60 rear. It's got race Devers on it. It does run an AMC motor, so it's got a built AMC 401. It's in the neighborhood of 500 to 550 horsepower. It runs the AMC Turbo Hydromatic 400 and a really cool Quadra-Track transfer case. And a lot of you guys know the Quadra-Track came in Wagoneers and CJs with automatics. But one of the things they did with these Quadra-Tracks is they removed the low range unit off the back of the Quadra-Track. And so it's actually got a Pontiac output shaft from a Pontiac automatic transmission and runs straight through the Quadra-Track, and then so it's got a center drop yoke, and this Jeep actually has both yokes still on it. So it's got a center drop where your low range would be, and then it's got the original offset rear yoke both of which spin the whole time you're driving. The motor and transmission have been moved back, I believe 6 inches, and I'll show you guys how they moved the firewall and the whole floorboard back in the Jeep, which is really cool. So the hood is fiberglass, the fenders are metal and the grill's metal. The CJ front end will have a steel grille and fiberglass fenders and hood just like it did back in the day. We will be changing the paint scheme. So you can see all the modifications that have been made to this thing. It's super neat. You can see where they recess the firewall back, and when they recess the firewall back, they move the drivetrain back. So the Jeep basically has a 50-50 weight distribution. This is a built 401. At one point I read it had a Traco motor in it. I know Warren and Jeff Dorr just went through the motor and rebuilt it. Like I said, it's 550 horsepower. It's got a race-built Holley 850 on it. Otherwise, you know, still running the CJ frame, lots of tubes. You know, you can see the repairs, the modifications, all the different shocks that this thing ran through the years. And that's what's so neat about it. The history on this Jeep is just amazing, and the fact that it has continued to race since 1976. Again, with periods, you know, little dormant periods, but has always found its way back into the dirt. And that's the way Ray would have liked it. You know, this is his baby, it's his brainchild, and it's just cool that it's still here. It's still gonna go out in the dirt at high speeds, and you can see all the years of progression and cracks and welds, and it's just got amazing character.
Speed, camera on plate. Roll B, scene B2, take one, Mark.
Action!